Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. I'm happy to be joined for this segment by Dr. Eve Hall, who serves as the president and CEO of the Milwaukee Urban League. Since 1919, the Milwaukee Urban League has focused its efforts on education and workforce development programs that empower communities and change lives. How are you, Dr. Hall?
I am doing well in the midst of a totally different kind of environment.
Oh, I'm telling you, things have been rough, but we're hanging in there, and it is always a pleasure to see you.
Yes, thank you. Same here.
So there's quite a bit going on regarding the Urban League, especially like you mentioned, we're in some different and difficult times. So like everyone else across the globe, the Urban League has had to make some adjustments in order to continue serving the people as you normally do. So what are some of the changes you've had to make due to the pandemic?
Well, first of all, Andrea, we are primarily working from home still. The leadership, we're in and out quite a bit, but in terms of our staff that typically interact with clients, for employment or those that were going into the schools doing educational coaching, all of that is now virtual. So, we are basically on the phone with our clients. We're Zooming like everybody. We're doing virtual job fairs when it comes to employment. We've had a few people come in, but it's so sparse, and it has to be, just as a totally as need basis, to just be protective. With our schools, that's probably been the hardest because, typically we've had staff in the schools working directly with groups of students as we've been coaching them with career counseling and job preparedness, etc. So that we've had to stop. And basically, we've provided what we call munch and learn packets, which are healthy snacks, educational activities, employment information for parents. We've been distributing those packets. Or I should say packages, because they're actually pretty huge, to the schools that we've been working with, including, face masks, so PPE, just things to protect. So that has been, very challenging. So we're now trying to, look at different ways that we can actually help with mentoring and reading with the schools through our tutors and volunteers. So, again, just a serious pivot in terms of not being able to interact directly with those we
Yeah.
work with every day.
And that's understandable, but it is a blessing that you're able to roll with the punches and still, offer the virtual job fairs for job seekers. And then you also have your popular classes, including driver's education classes that are offered online and things of that nature. So to be
That's
able to offer something is better than nothing, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And we actually added something during this time, Andrea, and thank you, regarding the driver's permit, because that is huge for us. I think we've done over 200 in terms of people enrolled, because again, it's even easier now that they can take the class virtually. But we've also started partnering with MATC, with GED classes, but also healthcare certification, customer service, and administrative support. So we've expanded somewhat in terms of that work in education in a different way.
Yeah. So if someone's interested in finding out how they can, be a part of a virtual job fair or something of that nature, can they go to your website?
They can. They just go to tmul.org. They just look at the staff. You'll see our director of programs. They will also see our career coaches listed and a phone number. And even though our staff are not in the office, they are still taking calls. So those calls bounce off to them, or they call in. So or they can even call directly the 374-5850 number, which is the general number, and that call will be directed to the appropriate person.
That's good to know. Now, before we discuss the black and white ball that's happening a little later this month, I wanted to have you fill us in on just a couple of things. Needless to say, we've had one of the biggest elections that this country has seen in a century.
Yeah.
So, what role did the Urban League play, both locally and nationally, in being able to mobilize voters?
Well, we were actually one of 13 cities selected by the National Urban League to implement what we call Reclaim Your Vote. And these were cities that, were very critical in the election, that had strong urban leagues, but again, critical. So as a part of that, we were doing phone banking, we were showing up all over the city with information on registration, actually registering voters as well, giving them information about the polls. We made sure that people had access to Lyft rides for yesterday. We were checking the polls if there was any need in terms of face masks. We made sure that we helped make that available. And we were actually in a collaborative effort, Andrea, with the Urban League of Greater Madison and also the Kenosha Racine. So together we were actually meeting every week, and each of our locations were hosting different get out the vote kinds of activities. And you may know we had a huge one just a couple weeks ago, in which we had fraternities and sororities that yes, exactly. And that was just a phenomenal organizing event, in terms of bringing very strong civic organizations together and just having them make sure that they were pushing out the vote to all of their networks and constituents.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we actually took a moment too, Andrea, when we ended up at Arrow Park to have a moment of silence for Dontre Hamilton and his family.
Yes, I'm loving that you are still able to do these things in the midst of this pandemic. And with that said, you recently hosted the State of Black America MKE virtual town hall, where you had a panel of well-known individuals from the community and had the national president of the Urban League, Mark Mariel, and UWM's Dr. Mark Levine as guest speakers. That's pretty amazing.
Yes, well, that was huge. Well, first, I just want to say, just for a moment to digress, when we spoke about the kind of our march and coming out with the different fraternities and sororities, is that what I was really proud of is that everyone social distanced. Everyone was very disciplined around that. Everyone had on masks because it was a large group of people, but everyone really towed the line on that. So that was huge. So I just wanted to,
every safety precaution was taken, and thank you for sharing that. So with this town hall, what are some of the things that were discussed, and what were you able to take away from just really figuring out the state of Black Milwaukee?
Well, the first thing, so much has still not changed, unfortunately. And I think in today's environment, Andrea, it is really forcing everyone to rethink how we've been supposedly addressing these issues, and it's not worked. And that if we don't pivot, I mean, there will just be really at a point of no return. We based this town hall, I really took it from the town hall that we have every year, quite frankly, at the National Urban League Conference that's hosted during the summer. We couldn't have it this year, but typically, Andrea, whatever city that the conference is being held in, we always have the State of Black America report. And it's held usually at a church or a large location. There's a panel very similar to what you saw, and we speak to that report. Well, we wanted to do something similar here in Milwaukee because it's just, again, as an urban league, we are trying to enhance our advocacy efforts and our leadership efforts in mobilizing voices, in mobilizing just the community around how we address issues. What really came to the forefront, though, is that we really have to look at having an all-out, just an agenda where we are focusing on particular elements that we can all come around to. I thought Dr. Joan Prince did a really good job in saying, the employment, the housing, health, education, those are issues that cannot be separate, that we have to really handle at one time, but we have to finally make that decision that we are truly going to do business differently this time. And, with Mark Levine's information, it was just interesting to see, unfortunately, the decline in the median income, the household median incomes especially with African Americans that I think had declined by 20 or 30% if we're going back to the
It's
70s.
like 17% Black women, 14% Black men, one or the other, who are making less than $40,000 a
Correct,
year in Milwaukee. So when
correct.
you think about that and the struggle that goes along with, things continue to cost more, but people are making less, then that is definitely an issue. But before we run out of time, Dr. Hall, we
Yes,
have to talk about the 35th annual Black and White Ball, which, needless to say, is going to be held virtually this
yes,
year. So the show must go on, right?
yes. And I am, I'm excited that you're one of my MCs. Okay.
Well,
So
thank you.
I have to
I'm
do
not
that shout
used
out
to
for you being a part of this very important first virtual ball. And we have, of course, Shelda Dudas joining you that night. But, even though it's virtual, we are planning a really exciting evening. So, we hope that we have a lot of people that join us that evening. And, we have some great talent in terms of, DJ Cheerios and Christopher's Project, Teresa Griffin. And I'm really excited because we will be honoring some of our heroes, hometown heroes, everything from health to employment to education to advocacy, individuals who in the midst of this pandemic found ways to make things better for others. So that is something additional that will be a part of our ball this year.
Yes, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. I think what you do is amazing. Every year, you are able to bring people from all walks of life, every sector of the city together to raise money to make a difference here in the city of Milwaukee for all the programs and services that you offer. And this is presented by Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin. It's happening Saturday, November 21st. And people are able to purchase tickets, which will go as part of the fundraising capability for the Black and White Ball. So where do they go for ticket information?
So they can go again to our website, tmul.org, to order their tickets if they want to become sponsors for companies that may be listening. There's sponsorships that are still available. So we're going to make it a great evening. People will have a personal access code to attend the ball. So it's not something that everyone can attend. You have to have that access code. And that will all be provided once you do register for the ball.
Right. And you do have tickets as low as $25. So people can be a part of this. And like you said, there's entertainment. You're honoring local heroes who continue to make a difference here in the city. And it's really a blessing to be able to pull this off. So you guys have put in a lot of planning and work to make it happen.
Yes. And we've never had $25 tickets. But we
Right.
knew with this pandemic, and just how people are there's challenged and struggling. We wanted to make sure that we had, and it's not a lot, so I'm not even sure if there are any left, but there was a certain allotment of $25 tickets for people to be able to purchase. So.
All right. I'm so looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. And thanks again for agreeing to be part of the Black and White Ball and for continuing to be one of our champions of the Milwaukee Urban League.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm excited to be a part of it. Dr. Eve Hall is the president and CEO of the Milwaukee Urban League. Their 35th annual Black and White Ball is virtual this year, and it's happening again on Saturday, November 21st. For more information, visit their website at tmul.org, or you can call 414-374-5850. That is going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. As always, thank you for watching, and I do hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues, Milwaukee. Have a great day.